Good morning traders, Joseph here from Eightcap. Welcome to this week's Asian session update for the Trade Zone week ahead series, part of the week ahead series. So we'll start with last week, Friday in particular. So we saw the US employment data come out a fair bit stronger than expected. So the NFP came in at 528k, average earnings actually increased to 0.5%, and unemployment decreased to 3.5%. Canadian employment data came in mixed. We saw unemployment improve to 4.9%, but the employment change came in at minus 30.6k. So we saw an interesting reaction after the data release. We saw US indexes drop, and we saw the dollar fight back. We'll go back to the dollar in a moment. So we can see here that there was a pretty substantial drop on US indexes. That did get clawed back late in the session, and we have seen a weaker open so far today. But if we just take a look at the Nasdaq and the S&P, you can see that there was selling on both markets to end the week. But losses were definitely capped because of that strong fight back we did see after the data's released. So if we now go back to the USD, some of the thoughts around that was the data came in, too hot, a little bit better than expected, and that continues to put pressure on the Fed with the interest rate policy, and it could be, with the economy still creating a lot of jobs and continuing at a fast pace. That could continue to hold or boost the current key issue, which is inflation. So that could have been how it has been determined. We'll see how that comes out. But this week is interesting on the back of that data, because we have US CPI coming out now. It's expected to come in a fair bit lower at 0.2%. So that could be an interesting one. If it doesn't come in at that 0.2%, that could lead to further worries, and it could also flatten out the idea that the Fed could be, after their last message, that they could be looking for a period to sort of judge how interest rates are going at the moment over the economy. If the economy is still running very hot and inflation does come in at higher than expected after this strong jobs report, that could continue to feed the current worries that are continuing at the moment. So looking at the USD index at the moment, we can see here that Friday's session formed a pretty nice engulfing bar, and it's also formed a higher low, and we have a trend break as well. So it would be good to watch the US dollar this week to see how buyers basically continue after that real strong move on Friday, and if they continue to push up, we've got a bit of a buying pattern, a bullish pattern here. So will we see a new leg higher push up? But keep in mind there is a decent amount of resistance at that 107.07 point, and that has stopped a couple moves by buyers in the past, and we can see a bit of supply in this area here up to 106.68. So buyers would really need to clear this level, then get back up here to test. Any move above that level would be starting to tell you that there's a new leg higher underway, but there's still a little bit of work to be done there. So the other risk currencies so far today, we're seeing the Aussie slightly higher, the Euro and the Pound are lower, but this is on the back of pretty decent declines on Friday, and we continue to still see the Euro just tracking in this range. We do have plenty of resistance up at 0.257, but at the moment there's plenty of support as well at 0.160, and we haven't really been able to see buyers or sellers really break out of this area just yet, and it continues to really just consolidate and tread water in this area here. We did look at the possibility after this move that we could see another push lower, but that was rejected by buyers, and so far that move we saw on Thursday has been rejected by sellers so far as well. So not too much going on in the Euro right now at the present. And the Pound, after last week's interest rate rise, the Bank of England didn't really do much to really stimulate buyers too much. We did see a drop last week, followed up by this small doji bar here, and then Friday we saw a strong move lower. So we have had a trend break, and we do have a second point now of a new downtrend, but again we need a little bit more clarification from buyers and sellers about direction. So a break at this point here would definitely suggest that the market wants to move lower, but if we do see a bit of a stall here and then a new push higher, would definitely need to keep in mind that there may be a bit more going on with this previous leg here. So the yen has been continuing to trade opposite. We are seeing the euro slightly lower, but that wasn't the case on Friday. We saw more strong gains against the yen from risk currencies. The euro had a very strong session, and but for now the pattern does remain lower. We do have a bit of a bearish channel going on the euro yen, so we'll need to have one more real key leg up to really break out of that pattern at the moment. And the pound, similar story, but not as the channel doesn't look as good. We do have a fair bit of support down at this level here at 160-114. Sellers will have to break that level to get any type of move going again, and we are seeing a bit of consolidation at this point now with a fair bit of supply around this area, and resistance really being seen at 163.16. Now the dollar yen, we'll just have a quick look at it as well. So the dollar yen has broken out of this point here. We're still, this morning we're outside that trend line, but we're still, it's not the most convincing breakout just yet. I would like to see one more leg higher just to signify that buyers are in control. There's support, at sorry, let's measure that again. So we do have support 132.78, but we do need just one more leg higher from buyers to really signify that this momentum is on their side at the moment. Now, gold at the moment, we saw a pretty decent move lower last Friday off the back of the dollar gaining strength, but for now gold's still sitting in this up leg. Nothing's been broken yet, and we just want to see if buyers can continue to push higher in this new move that they're currently holding at the moment. Now, oil was interesting last week. It is a good one for the inflation situation. With lower oil prices, business costs are lower, transport costs are lower, and we did finally see a key breakout of this support. It had been defended for a fair period of time. We did see that failed high, and that led to that first leg lower, and we did see sellers break that support last week with 2 bars. So we're going to oil, so we can see that nice lower high here with this current trend lower. So definitely, for the time being, oil remains in the downtrend. We'll see what happens with the next counter rally. If we do see a new counter rally, we'd like to see this previous level of support turn into resistance, and a new failed high with a lower high, and then a new move lower that breaks that, breaks the previous low, just to show that this trend is still continuing lower. We just want to jump over to some of the indexes. So we have seen some really, some nice moves on indexes. So recovery trends have been strong. We are seeing a small little corrective phase at the moment. That may go a bit deeper depending on some of the data this week, but we do want to see this this pattern still remains firm, and especially for the Nasdaq, for instance, we'd like to see support come in at 12,869, and then a new higher low with a new pushback to test these highs at 13,295. And for the US 30, we are seeing a fair bit of resistance building up now at 32851, but we are seeing lower highs and a small to triangle consolidation pattern here. So again, if we do see another move lower, we'd like to see this point remain in play for buyers at 32,403, and then a new test of this resistance and a break of that level will signify that this trend is still looking to continue. So it's very close to the open of the ASX at the moment. So the ASX 200 CFD, it looks quite similar to the US 30 at the moment. We do have a resistance at 70.20, and we do have some support down at the area of 6955. This move here on the ASX is a little bit, the run has been, the angle of the run is slightly steeper than some of the other indexes. So, but we still would like to see any pullbacks, sort of buyers come back in at that 6953 point, and then a new test resistance and then a break higher, like we've been describing on the other markets, just to signify that this move is going to continue. What to watch out for is a deep, fast move lower, then a new lower high, followed by a new break of a low. That would be a bit of a warning sign on the current leg higher. So just going to finish up with some of the crypto markets. So this morning crypto is trading lower. We've had a pretty mixed, a very flat, quiet to mixed weekend. We did see a couple tiny moves higher on Bitcoin, but this morning we're seeing a little bit of selling. Ethereum and Ava are probably doing the worst at this stage in the top 10. I don't know if you really put Ava in the top 10, but Sol is leading the losses at the moment. We did see that news come through last week of that hack on a lot of wallets that were holding Solana. There was close to $6 million stolen from those wallets, and it was in the actual crypto itself, NFTs and tokens. Solana saying that the attack wasn't on the blockchain itself. There was a hacker exploited a weakness in the wallets and took the currency and the NFTs directly from the wallets. So Solana is down, it's not down a heap this morning looking at the chart, but we can see on the 4-hour that it is currently sellers are reholding that resistance at 41.28, and on to just back up to Ethereum and Bitcoin. So Ethereum, a bit like some of the stock indexes, we are seeing a bit of a consolidation pattern here. There's that resistance level up at 1761. Again, we are in an uptrend, but we just need to see buyers refine some of that momentum we've seen. There is a decent little attempt to push higher here. We are moving lower, so if we do see a new higher low, we'd like to see a test of that resistance and a break, just to show that this trend is going to continue. But there is a bit of an ending diagonal starting to form, roughly here. So it's not the best looking one. It's not a real classic shape, but there is a bit of you can see a small pattern starting to form. So that may bring down to the position of will buyers be able to find that momentum again and to retest that resistance to break higher. Over to Bitcoin quickly before we wrap up today's report. We can see a similar pattern again, just that consolidation. It doesn't look as good as Ethereum, so it does look like the market's waiting for some reason to really get going. CPI might be a influence this week. We have seen a lot of the top cryptos following with the Nasdaq and following the stock indexes. So we'll be looking to see this week if we can see some direction from some of the top cryptos as well. So just to recap, this week's key news really, which could have a solid effect, is the US CPI, and that's due out later in the week, and we're looking for 0.2%. So we're going to wrap up there. Thanks very much for your time this morning. We hope you enjoy your week, and we wish you the best for your trading this week as well. And please stay up to date with our latest social media posts and our reports, and the rest of today's week ahead reports will be coming out through Trade Zone. So thanks again. Enjoy your week, and bye for now.